This is me. Up to now, you still don't even see me for who I really am. I'm you, Dad.
Now, one of the hot topics in the Power universe since the end of Power is Ghost's return. There are a few that are still hopeful that Ghost returns as an alive character, and others are just hoping to see Ghost appear in a hallucination scene for Tariq St. Patrick at some point in the future. Now, Amari Hardwick has previously gone on record to say that his story in terms of Ghost is over, but he wouldn't mind showing us another side to his character, and so I make it known during my various breakdowns that Ghost was a multi-layered character who we were only introduced to after a 6-month working relationship with Felipe Lobos, but who was Ghost before? Did we really know who James St. Patrick was? So Omari Hardwick has previously been open to the idea of showing that side of Ghost, something we've not seen before. Now, in a recent interview, Omari Hardwick did open up about how a potential return to Power was on the cards just last season. Stars did apparently ask him to come back in the last year and a half, and this is the first time we've seen Omari open up about the topic. He said he was offered to come back, and they had a bit of back and forth, but for whatever reason they weren't able to make it work. Now, do I think they were planning on bringing him back as an alive character? Let's think about this for a moment. Where was Power Book 2 Ghost in their storyline in Season 2? Tariq was struggling with PTSD. He was having hallucination scenes of Kanan, asking him to man up and make the man's move. He was alone with no Tasha, and he had to navigate his studies, the drug game, working with the Tejadas, looking after Yasmin, as well as fighting a double homicide. We also saw Season 2 starting with him having a nightmare of Jabari, and later in the season, a nightmare where he saw Lakeisha, Joe Proctor, Ray Ray, Raina St. Patrick, and a few others. There were all of these characters that Tariq had a hand in killing or had some sort of relation to in terms of their death. For example, leaving the back door open for Uncle Tommy to kill Joe Proctor. But one person who we didn't see was of course Ghost. Instead, Professor Milgram pulled out her phone and said, "It's your father, Tariq. He has something to tell you." Now, this is what Amari Hardwick may or may not have been talking about. You know, I'm only speculating and putting 2 and 2 together like Kane. Ghost was the only character missing from Tariq's hallucination, and I also think it would have been great if Amari Hardwick was the one who read Ghost's letter, which was delivered by his trusted lawyer Daniel in episode 5. Although it does have to be said, actors like Omari do have a heavy schedule, and sometimes it just doesn't work out timing wise, because they're so heavily booked up with other shows, movies and interviews and so on. There may even be other projects, and a perfect example is Jukebox. Anika Rose, who played Jukebox on Power, wasn't supposed to be killed off so soon. Her original story did actually go a bit further, and she was supposed to be a character to put the bullet in Raina St. Patrick instead of Ray Ray, and with her coming to New York and creating havoc for Ghost and Tommy. But her schedule and whatever else she had going on at that time, unfortunately it just didn't allow her to be on Power, and so they had to change a bit of the story, so scheduling sometimes does play a part. Now, coming back to Amari Hardwick's interview, he said for him to come back it would have to be the perfect thing for him. So what's the perfect thing for Amari? Does he want to come back as a character who's alive, just in a hallucination scene, or give us a story prior to what we saw in Power? Who knows? But one thing we do know is, in this business things can change very quick. Just like how Power Book 2 Ghost moves at a very quick pace, and how there's always twists and turns, you can never say never with Power. Now, in my opinion, I do think Ghost is needed at some point in the future to conclude this story. He's one of the faces of the Power universe, and to conclude Tariq St. Patrick's at some point in the future, now whether it be in Season 5 or Season 6, or whenever or however they plan to conclude Tariq's story, I do think he needs to come face to face with his past. Everything that we're seeing Tariq go through in Ghost is everything that his father warned him about in Power. You know, for 2.5 seasons we've seen Tariq fight to get back to his family, and to also inherit his father's trust. This empire that Ghost built was there for Tariq if he ever graduated from college with an average GPA of 3.5. But even now that's in jeopardy being at Western Holdings in a Ponzi scheme, so he could even end up losing everything Ghost built, and really have to go through what Ghost had to go through building everything brick by brick from the ground up in the streets. So at some point, I do think Tariq will come to terms with why Ghost made some of the decisions he made, and why he did some of the things he did, and that's the moment I want to see Tariq St. Patrick coming face to face with his father, him admitting he was right. So to end Tariq's story, I do think a hallucination scene, or however they plan to do it, would be the perfect way. But who knows what the perfect thing is for Amari? I'm sure he has his own thoughts and perceptions on bringing his character back. But that's just some news on Amari Hardwick and him speaking about how close he was to returning to Power just in the last year or so, and a bit of a break from Power Book 2 Ghost during this break between episodes 8 and 9. So just let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Can they make this happen? Can they work something out with Amari Hardwick to bring him back? Even if it's just for the last and final scene of Power Book 2 Ghost as a hallucination, just to speak to Tariq St. Patrick, to maybe just conclude Tariq's story, that's something I'd definitely like to see. But drop all your thoughts and theories on how you'd like to see Amari Hardwick return as Ghost. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.